Who's knocking on my door?
What it looks like here.
Some kind
I
of
seen this already.
drug-induced rage or
I didn't
anything like
pre-watch.
that. And the fact that she loved him so much makes it hard to believe that she had just planned this murder out and actually went through with it. So is it even really possible that she could have murdered him? Also, as for the blood in her car, this was later revealed to have likely been from one of Timothy's frequent nosebleeds. He had gotten a bad one in the car just weeks before his
Nosebleed.
disappearance,
Really?
now
The
believe
nosebleed?
had caused the blood that they had found in the car. And despite all the police investigations into the hotels that they stayed at and the crime scene where Amy had killed herself, no evidence of murder was ever found.
Where the fuck is
The only
he?
piece of true evidence to support this was the fact that Amy had changed her clothes after leaving the hotel where Timothy was last seen. This set of clothes was never seen again. So at the end of the day,
So
we have a
where
really
is she?
strong theory here, and despite its many flaws, it's still possible that this was in fact what happened. But I certainly can't say with 100% certainty that Amy murdered Timothy, and for that reason, we have to explore some other theories. Buried in the suicide note and forgotten by most was the fact that Amy had mentioned how she didn't want to risk Timothy being hurt by Jim because of her choices. This is something that really jumped out to me because it implies something incredibly dark. First of all, why would she just assume that Jim would hurt Timothy? Perhaps this suggests that Jim was actually abusive towards him, and she feared that taking her life would fill him with even more rage. I mean, she wouldn't just assume Jim would hurt Timothy if he didn't have a history of abuse, right? I mean, that's not just something that you could assume that he would just randomly start doing out of the blue. So perhaps this is why Amy never called Jim, because he might not have been the man that we thought. But digging even deeper, let's look into the second part of her statement. Because of her choices. Sure, this could mean her choice to take her own life and to take Timothy on this random trip, but why would this translate into Timothy being hurt? These were Amy's actions, and there's no way that it could be spun around and blamed on a 6-year-old child. This has led many to believe that there was more to this statement. Some believe that this statement implies that Amy had actually cheated on Jim, and that Timothy was not actually Jim's son. And perhaps she felt that if Jim were to ever find out about the choices she made to cheat on him, that he would hurt the both of them. Or maybe he just wouldn't be able to handle the pain of being lied to. So it's possible that Amy discovered that Timothy was in fact not Jim's child, and that she panicked and caused this whole ordeal. And maybe she ended up taking Timothy to his actual father, who is now raising him in secrecy. I know this one is a bit out there, but there's one thing that really sticks out in my mind when I hear this, and that is this. When Amy and Jim met, Jim was battling Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was luckily able to beat the disease, but not without the help of chemotherapy. But a nasty side effect of this treatment is typically infertilization for men. So when Jim was later able to have a child with Amy, they viewed it as a miracle. But perhaps it wasn't a miracle at all.
Wasn't a miracle.
Perhaps it was someone else's child. So to recap this theory, some believe that Amy had gotten pregnant with Timothy because of another man, and fearful of what Jim might do when he later finds out, she took Timothy away and had him live in secrecy with his real father. And unable to cope with the mess that she created, Amy had taken her own life. Now to me, this is a theory based purely in speculation that is very interesting, but probably not much more than that. It is quite certainly more of a reach than saying that he was just murdered, but at the end of the day, it's still a possibility, and perhaps bits and pieces of it are true.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps none of it is. But with a case this mysterious, all things have to be considered. Now this theory is a bit more vague, but it is a popular one among Timothy's remaining family. They believe that Timothy was given up to a kind family who lives in a remote area and that are now homeschooling Timothy and hiding a remote kind family up to a family who kind. Now this theory is a bit more vague, but it is a popular one among Timothy's remaining family. They believe that Timothy was given up to a kind family who lives in a remote area and that are now homeschooling Timothy and hiding him. I mean, after all, 2011 was a high point for underground adoptions, so it's possible that a family illegally adopted him through Amy. But there's also stranger places that some people believe that he might have gone. Some people believe that Timothy was given up to a remote Amish community and that he is there working and living with a group of people who are now caring for him. Another creepier belief is that Timothy was given up to a cult located in the Wisconsin area near the hotel that the two had stayed at. Now, I couldn't find much information about this supposed cult, but I've heard from a lot of locals that really swear that it is real. Whoever he was given up to, this theory suggests that Timothy is alive and well to this day. And for that reason, I honestly hope that this is the case. I mean, even if he's part of some creepy cult, like, at least he's alive. And at least there's hope that he can one day be reunited with his father.
Oh yeah.
To this day, neither of the theories discussed have been proven or disproven. And closure seems a long way off for the family of Timothy Pitson. Perhaps in the future, Timothy will return home to his father with a story to tell. But until then, we'll just have to wait for more answers before we can truly solve.
Bro, what is this of telling dudes? I don't get it. Wait, in that case then, the best, I'll tell you right now, the best mice possible
Oh
is
my
a
god.
catapult.